it's like a town in Baltimore County. Ordinarily, we have a pretty rad like public fireworks display, right? But this year they canceled that. But they're just for the past couple months, like it seems like every night there are like fireworks going off, right? And it's all stuff that's like illegal in Maryland that our people are bringing in from Pennsylvania for the most part. And I think it's pretty awesome. You know, like I love it. Just because like every time I hear it, it's like I know that this shit's illegal, and it's to me, it's like a big fuck you to the state. You know that people are doing it every night, and I also like that it pisses off the Karens because fuck them anyways. So, anyways, like me and Ned were just like, you know, like just like really going to town, like lighting off fireworks for like an hour straight. And then like halfway down the block, there were some other people setting them off. So like literally we could see theirs and we could see ours. And it was just awesome, man. It was like maybe my favorite 4th of July ever. I don't know. It was really cool.
Nice. I heard there's more illegal fireworks this year than ever before. So
I would believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a video of a flyover over California, and it was just I don't know what cities they were over, but it was just crazy looking because it was just like a helicopter flying over, and there's just like every block there's like a different fireworks show going off, and they're obviously all illegal. So
well, some of those could have been Black Lives Matter protests. So
I mean, they could have been whatever, but either way, they're against the law, which is cool.
Some kind of mayhem's going on and shit's burning. That's all we know for sure.
That's fine by me.
My friend was really disappointed he didn't get bigger fireworks. He was like, this is never going to happen again. Next year, you know, we're going to prepare. He's like, I'm going up to the Pennsylvania tomorrow to buy them up. You know, I guess they're discounted after the 4th, but
that's right.
we've been getting like advertisements from the Sky King up in PA, like nonstop on the radio.
Sky King.
Yeah, and I heard like the line to get in was like 4 hours long to try to get in there and get fireworks yesterday. So,
whoa, yeah, I can only imagine because like normally like me and my buddy Ned, like my neighbor, like we normally like every year we drive like an hour away to Pennsylvania to buy fireworks, right? And we go to like one of these fireworks stores, and it's like crazy packed inside. And I would imagine right now with COVID, they probably have like limits to like 10 or 20 people inside the store at one time. So yeah, there's probably like a huge line out front. I would think.
Did he get them this year? Like, where'd you get them?
Actually, well, yeah, I did not go to Pennsylvania this year. Actually, right now I still have a bunch of stuff left over, and then my dad actually purchased like I think he purchased some like huge bundle of fireworks at Sam's Club, and it's all Maryland legal stuff, so it doesn't shoot up in the air, but it's pretty impressive stuff. It basically you light it on the ground, right? And it like kind of like gives you like a spark show that goes about like 15 feet high or something.
Right.
So
you can take those apart and make your own explosives with them. Like that's what
you can
as a kid,
bomb your own
was
buildings
really
with
bored. So like we would like
you got the fucking unibabber here.
The unibabber.
We'd like empty the gunpowder
one.
out of like a whole string of black cats and like put them in like one bottle with a fuse, like just to be dipshits,
Do you have any injuries or?
Well, we used to take like 1,000 sparklers and tie them all up, like thousands of them, like so it would maybe like a diameter of like 5 feet, and then light that shit up. It's just a fucking inferno that goes up like 30 feet,
brighter than the sun.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Oh man.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like when I was a kid, I think all the shit that was illegal in Maryland was basically like sparklers and those black cats or whatever.
Right.
I saw this video.
The poppers.
I think it was from India.
Sorry, yeah, the poppers and then they had the snakes as well.
Right.
Have you ever seen this video? I think it's from India where they have this giant like wheel that once they fire up the rockets, it starts spinning.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually lifts it up into the air, this giant contraption that's like powered by like fireworks. Have you ever seen this thing? It's insane.
That's awesome.
Highly festive, but definitely reckless.
Yeah, it's always a little bit dangerous, isn't it? Right? It's always a little bit like, I mean, we had some loose bottle rockets, just kind of go in the wrong direction yesterday, and one guy's almost got a hole burned in his shirt. And
have you ever been in a Roman candle fight?
I have not, no, but I hear good things.
Oh yeah, I used to do that all the time, actually.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dude,
I
the
think last
best were
week,
like.
I think we were
the
talking about this a little
Roman
last
candle
week.
fights in the snow.
Oh, in the snow.
Yeah, I've had a few of those. Those are pretty awesome.
We were playing last year. We were playing Roman candle baseball. That was kind of fun.
How do you do that?
I hope you wear safety goggles.
Yeah. Someone had like a helmet, so we put that on, and then we were shooting fireworks at each other and trying to hit them, which was like nearly impossible because they
Like, I
travel
could
like
just see, like, if you connected though, that could just spray flaming magnesium in
all
every
over
direction,
everybody.
though. That
Yeah,
would be so cool.
yes. I think one person made contact, but anyways.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see that everyone's really feeling the spirit of the season.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
Probably the most patriotic holiday, right? Yeah, I think
it's basically just cover to blow shit up. I think that's really where it comes down to for a lot of people.
Blow shit up,
and
barbecue.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to have a friend with a pool.
Oh, it was pretty funny though, dude. Like Jared knows this guy. I don't want to say his name on the podcast, but he posted something yesterday like, "I'm celebrating 4th of July, and I don't give a flying fuck about your protest." And I commented, "But all countries matter, Jim."
Oh.
Americans kill Americans and other countrymen kill Americans. You should clean your own house.
Yeah. So like I told him I told him but all countries matter, because this is the guy who would, if somebody says Black Lives Matter, he's gonna say all lives matter. So.
All countries matter. That's so beautiful.
And then he didn't get it. He was like, "Today is America's Day." It's like exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
It really sounds like a white pride slogan, though, doesn't it? Like, finally, America's going to get recognized. Finally, America's going to be important in the world.
I think other countries, they all have sort of an Independence Day, right? But they're not all based on revolution. Some of them just seceded from England, right?
Right.
Some of them were just like, "We're done here."
Yeah, England was like, "Okay, you can have it. Good luck. We're out."
Like, yeah, we really couldn't
That's
afford to
fine.
keep you anyway. We're really glad you can live on your own. Good luck.
Literally, every country has like a
Visit us
birthday,
at
right?
Christmas.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
some
Ours
might
is
maybe
the
you just have
best.
like a
Ours is the
Founder's Day.
best.
Ours is the best.
Newfoundland, they left and they fell under hard times, and they're like, "Can we come back?"
Didn't Quebec want to rejoin France or secede from
Probably.
Canada at one point, like 95? France
Oh,
is like,
wow.
no.
They
Y'all
said
talk-
no.
I didn't know they wanted to join France. I knew they wanted to secede, but
Yeah, they
I don't
wanted
really
France
know.
to take them. But I was like, yeah, no.
France has enough people to worry about. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like a bunch of Quebecers talking wonky French.
All right, so okay, I want to go down to topic 3 now, and we'll come back around to topic 2. But so Kanye West has just announced that he's going to run for president, and Elon Musk has endorsed him.
This is the golden age.
I mean, what does this mean?
Man.
What does this mean? And it's like,
Well, isn't he? And he's running with his own party, right? He's running with the Yeezy Party.
the what?
The Yeezy Party.
No. Really?
That's
That's a thing?
I think that's what I saw. I mean, he's not running as a Democrat. I don't think.
Is he
Too late.
fundraising
It's
with
too late to run as a
Kanye?
Democrat.
Is he
Yeah,
fundraising
exactly.
with the Kanye coin?
The
Yeah,
coin.
maybe.
Remember that?
Has anybody
Yeah.
checked out his platform? Does he have a platform?
Oh, don't spoil it for me with a platform. Let's just savor the moment.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I am interested in his platform, but okay, my
his-
question
First
is,
of all, let's just savor the moment that we've got
All right, so-
an international pop star declaring his run for presidency, endorsed by the Mr. Tesla, SpaceX, global satellite network, basically Iron Man, right? Stark, right? So we got
Right.
Stark teamed up with a media guy, and they've announced it on Twitter.
right. So his tweet says, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for president of the United States." But according
Did he
to
just
this,
announce this today or yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
I
And
think
then
he's
he
promising
says,
free fish sticks for everyone.
free fish. But he does not appear to have registered his name with the FEC for November's election. The closest name the FEC database shows is a candidate called Kanye D's Nuts West. Dude, this isn't a BBC article that I'm reading. Who filed their papers with the Green Party in 2015 under the address 1977 Gold Digger Avenue, Sweet Jesus. It appears to have raised no money.
I
awesome.
am seriously impressed with that effort.
There was a 16-year-old who there had to have been there was a kid who actually ran as D's Nuts.
Oh yeah, that was back in 2016, I think.
Yeah, no,
it was
that actually happened.
And that was like his party was like the 420 Blaze It party or something like that. Oh man, this is good stuff.
Okay, so my question is, who do you think Kanye West hurts more, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Vermin Supreme.
Probably Joe Biden, I would think. I would think that he would attract some black votes away from Biden, you know?
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of right wingers leaving Trump to vote for Kanye West.
I mean, he was a big, allegedly a big Trump supporter.
Yeah, this whole thing comes across as a joke to me.
What have the Kardashians said about this?
She has endorsed him.
What if this is all like Trump, like 4D chess? Like he like put Kanye up to running to like split the Democratic vote.
It could be, man.
Like what Ross Perot did or something. He was kind of like that. He was just trying to get votes away from Bush Sr. He didn't really care to win or anything. So maybe that's his thing. Is he's like not in it to win it. He's in it to just fuck with it a little bit. Then.
I can respect that more than someone actually thinks they can win. Like to just like go in and disrupt their stupid game. At least is something.
Yeah.
You end up tilting it in favor of one or the other. You end up splitting one of their votes, and then it makes it easier for the other one. If you make an impact as a third party or a independent candidate, which is really, really hard to make an impact. Although what did Gary get? Gary got like 3%. That's substantial in a close election.
You know what though? Kanye is like internationally, mega famous. So
it doesn't translate to votes.
You can't vote if you're not in this nation.
He's not going to be on the ballot. He's going to be a write-in candidate because his party's not going to have ballot access anywhere.
Why do you assume that?
That's how it works. You have to be a recognized political party to get on there.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like
the Libertarian Party is barely going to be on the ballot. So.
We're not going to be on in Maryland.
Yeah,
no, I know we are.
There's other situations where because of the virus, all the pamphleting requirements are getting waived.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, they didn't completely
get fast tracked into ballot access, at least in some states. I'm guessing. I don't really know how it's playing out, but that's what the Libertarian Party's hoping for, at least, and been working in various courtrooms to make sure it happens.
Yeah, in Maryland they didn't waive it entirely, but I think they cut it in half or severely decreased the amount of signatures that you had to get. So it sounds like they're going to be able to hit it.
Wow, that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so, and it's good news for the Yeezy Party too. So
it's got to get out there petitioning for Yeezy.
I think a Twitter-based Kanye presidential campaign really doesn't need ballot access because it's in here, right?
It's in here, James. It's in the soul.
Hearts. It's in our minds. It's in our heads. Like it's gonna be like a rebel flag. Okay, so
like a rebel flag. So it's gonna get banned everywhere.
He needs to get a website up and running. He needs to get merch out, right? You got to have your Kanye 2020 shirt.
I mean, he's got his own Gap line now, so I'm sure he could pump some campaign merchandise through there, right?
This whole thing sounds like it isn't really well thought out or well prepared, but hey,
That's
maybe
why I
he'll throw
love
it
it.
together.
I think it's just another PR stunt.
I
He's
wouldn't
pretty
be
good at them.
Well, I'm guessing that Vermin Supreme inspired him, right?
It could be.
I mean,
Could be.
How could you not see Vermin's campaign and not just see what the possibilities are? So,
well, I mean, he also might be inspired by Trump. I mean, he's more famous than Trump. Well, not now, but like before Trump was president, he was probably a little bit more famous than Trump. It could be argued.
Is he still married to the Kardashian woman?
Yeah. I mean, the guy's profile is just huge. So, I mean, if you can win just basically being famous like Trump, then why not try it out?
He's way more famous than Trump ever was as a celebrity. So,
right, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah.
Celebrity, let's have a battle of celebrities. What other celebrities can we get in on this?
Oh my God. I'm afraid.
If you could bring in if you could summon one more celebrity into the race, who would it be? For maximum lulls.
For maximum lulls.
Go with Taylor Swift, maybe. I don't know.
She's not funny.
No.
Brown Spears.
Yeah,
Carrot
Doug
Top.
Stanhope.
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top. Is he a celebrity? I mean, does he count?
You know who he is, don't you?
Yeah, true.
Maybe Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel.
That guy. That I was watching this video. That guy from American History X, the big guy. Remember him?
Yeah, Ethan Suplee.
Yeah, he is ripped now. That guy
Yeah, he's lost a whole bunch of weight.
100 pounds, and he's all muscle. I was like, I watched this whole video and really didn't recognize him. I'm like, I think that's the guy from American History X, and he was also in
Remember the Titans.
Yeah, Remember the Titans, or
yeah.
Was he in Varsity Blues, or was that a different guy? Might have been a different guy, but yeah. And then My Name is Earl. So anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, really famous guy, and I'm just.
How many gigs has he lost though by getting in shape?
How many what?
Gigs.
How many gigs?
I don't know. That's a good.
Because he kind of always played like the fat guy, right?
Yeah, that's his niche. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
well, that was like Melissa McCarthy and Jonah Hill too. They lost all their weight. And now
then he can't be cast in that part anymore.
That's right. I heard him on he was on Michael Mouse's podcast.
Jonah Hill?
Jonah Hill?
No. Ethan Suplee.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Chris Kofer said that he donated $100 to the making of that movie that they did.
Yeah, I think he's a libertarian guy.
Wow. Small world.
Who is?
Ethan Suplee.
Really? Wow.
I mean, yeah, he was on like Mouse's show. I don't know if he's like, a principled like voluntarist, but
he donated to the monopoly of violence. He might be.
He might be, actually. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty dope. Yeah. But anyways, all right.
Yeah, so I think next we're gonna head back to Epstein's girl got caught. She was picked up in New Hampshire. Her name is Ghislaine Maxwell. And so this lady, she's like 58 years old, I think. And she ran with Epstein for years. And she apparently procured a bunch of like underage women for Epstein to sleep with. Right.
And like traffic, right?
Yeah. Like just all sorts of shady stuff. And apparently they picked her up in New Hampshire.
So how long do you think she's got?
Well, right.
Hillary gets her.
Or before she dies of COVID-19.
Yeah.
I heard she's licensed to drive a submarine. Is that possible?
Wait, what? Wait, what?
No, seriously. Somebody said the Epstein's Island had a secret submarine entrance for this like super elite pedophiles.
I'm gonna defer to Kyle Wagner though, because like he knows all about blowjob licenses. So
Kyle, if something's getting licensed, Kyle knows about it.
This is like, it sounds like a pirate island with their submarine, or like a James Bond villain where you come in through the secret tunnel and bring all the underage girls in.
I think that's the level of villainy we're talking about here. They got a special island and shit, and
yeah. So she's definitely gonna kill herself any day now, right? Sounds like she's got all the docs
Now
And,
it goes full circle though, because of course, who's posed with her but Elon Musk, who earlier endorsed Kanye. Okay, so
Wait,
this
you
is a
said,
tangled
Musk?
web.
Elon Musk is in a picture with her, which like just because you're in a picture with somebody doesn't mean you endorse everything they've ever done or are aware of everything.
Doesn't mean
exactly.
you're part of, does
Yeah,
mean you're
that's
part of their
rough.
pedophilia ring, right? Like,
Yeah.
and their sexual blackmail of political power ring. However, it just means though that, well, there's questions there. Like, what
there
is
are questions.
There's certainly a question as to, what are you doing at this party? But, rich people are always going to be, people at that level of society are going to always probably wind up at the same parties every so often, whether they're all participating in horrible things like that is another question. I don't think they all are. But
I think we can all just hope to rise to the level where like people are getting embarrassed by all the photos that we took with them.
Hopefully for hilarious
people
reasons.
Are getting called out like, oh, I can't believe you took a picture with, oh, you look, that's you and Jared Schneiderman. No, like,
yeah,
better explain that. Like,
I was watching some of the Epstein Netflix thing, and he was definitely a pedophile. Like they were recruiting young girls in I think it was Florida to like go to his mansion and give them massages, and I mean they were high school girls, but it was like a word of mouth thing. They were like the one girl was like, hey, if you want to make some extra money, I know this like rich guy where you can like give him a massage, and like they brought her. And like that's exactly what it was. She was like, I never felt more disgusted in my entire life.
Yeah, it's like Epstein found this very poor chick, and he was like, "I'll give you $200 for every girl that you get over here."
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that's what I heard. I heard there was some sort of that. There was also that network. It wasn't just Giselle.
I mean, and that part is so horrible. But wasn't this just a means to put these people into blackmail situations, right? Where then they would debrief the girls and then come up with files on the powerful people that were having sex with these children, right? And then pressuring them into, wars, who knows what.
Yeah, I think that was like a side benefit for him, right? Because he was definitely into it himself. But then also like, all right, I can hook all my powerful pedophile friends up and then, have a camera behind the fucking painting in the corner. And then now I got some blackmail material.
Yeah.
So the question is, where's that fucking material though?
It's so weird to me. I don't understand the whole pedophilia buddies, pedophilia bros kind of thing. Like it's more of a, I don't know.
It's like a really fucked up version of Mario Bros.
I think it's, I mean, maybe it's not as rare as I think it is, but it's like a rare perversion. I consider it a rare perversion. And I just don't see how you could get that many buddies that are like into it. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're varying levels, right? It's not just the sex part. It's the money part. It's the power part. There's several aspects to it. I mean, there were rings of cops busted for for engaging and building these sex rings. I don't know if they were at all in conjunction with Epstein, but there were definitely trafficking young girls into prostitution, and and they were busted. I think it was Florida. I could be wrong, but it was definitely there was a bust of them, and then there were doctors involved. And then they found some CPS agents involved, and it's like,
wow.
It does happen because it can, right? Because
well, I think especially in government, because if you're like a super rich guy, right, and you want to get your congressman in there, right, you're going to fund him, but you need some strings. You need a file to control him. You're not going to elevate someone to power that you can't control. Right. So the people, if you're capable of being blackmailed, that makes you a great candidate for Congress or for the presidency or Supreme Court or whatever. So naturally we end up seeing all these powerful people, like in the scandal. Well, they like, why didn't Ron Paul get anywhere? Because he didn't go to Epstein's Island, right? So he was always sidelined. But you know, you can see who's not part of their little club. Like, I don't think AOC like is part of that circle, or every once in a while, you know, one goes through. You can, you know, they're quickly sidelined.
Yeah. It looks like every state has like a huge bust. Ohio had 100, including doctors, 277 arrested in Florida. I think that's the one I heard about. New Jersey, 24 arrested. It's, I mean, you know, including cops and doctors.
Is this related to Maxwell?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure she'll connect the dots better than anybody, but I mean, I have to wonder how rare it is. You know, is it rare because we don't hear about it, or is it rare because it actually rarely happens?
Maybe these guys are turning on each other now. Maybe they're all, you know,
it's possible.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that all necessarily need to be related. I mean, these traits exist. Yeah. And to answer Kyle's question, I mean, I don't think it's, you know, if you have out of a population of, you know, let's say in a city like 1 million or something, and you have 200 people that are into this sort of thing, they're probably going to be able to find each other and then, you know, work together to pull off their ring or whatever. It doesn't mean that like it just happened to be 200, 10 friends that decide they just wanted to start getting into this shit. You know, it's like these people
like
just network and find each other.
Right. And half of them are cops. Right.
Yeah.
So,
So they're already networked. They're already a part of an organization.
Like, even as part of official duties, like when they're fighting, you know, trafficking, you know, the police do stuff like they
sting
in
operations.
Pennsylvania, they actually lured a pedophile in from Florida. They like baited him, like pretending to be, you're gonna meet this, you know, this underage person. They set up a fake meeting, right, and brought this guy all the way from Florida into Pennsylvania so they could arrest him. However, like, they could have just left him in Florida, right? Like, they're actually importing pedophiles into Pennsylvania. You know, like, maybe that's not the best thing for Pennsylvanians. I mean,
so now he's like a registered sex offender in Pennsylvania.
I don't remember how the case played out, but like, what if they didn't get him? Like, what if he decided, like, you know what, I'll just go,
go to
steal this other kid. Like,
I'll just go to McDonald's. Get a Happy Meal.
Yeah. Jesus. Maybe you saw Chris, whatever his name is, in the what's his name? Chris Wallace
or Matthews? Or...
No. The guy that does the To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
It was like Chris Hansen. Yeah. Maybe you saw Chris Hansen driving by and was like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. Well, that guy's probably 100 times more effective than like the Pennsylvania State Police.
Probably. Yeah. That was a crazy show.
The police have done stuff where they take over like child porn servers and like run them for a long time. Like,
for like a long time.
In like, 7 years, we're trying to bust these guys.
Exactly.
We don't look at anything on there.
Understand, obviously.
Like, have you guys ever seen that YouTube channel? They're called Cart Narcs.
Cart Narcs?
Yeah. So this guy goes around to parking lots, right? And he like catches people like just putting shopping carts like in any old random parking spot.
Oh, and that's funny.
And he starts like just calling them out on camera, making them look like a total piece of shit. And there'll be like, like 100,000 views. And then and he puts like magnets on their cars, like to shame them. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So okay, now I guess we're at Baltimore Columbus statue. So what's the deal here, Jared? So a Columbus statue in Baltimore was thrown into the sea, or like what happened?
Into the sea. No, it was thrown into the harbor, which is kind of hilarious because the harbor is like.
Wait, what's the melt value of that statue?
Right.
I don't know what it was made out of. I don't know.
What if it was? I mean, that could have been like bronze or something. Like,
I don't think it. No, it was like it looked like some sort of like concrete or like some sort of white material. It wasn't like bronze or metal.
So did you know if it's still in the harbor or have they pulled it out or have you heard anything?
I have not. I mean, the harbor's pretty deep. I don't know if they would go through all the trouble of pulling it out. They might just let it
should
stay
be like
there.
it should be like a place that scuba divers go to like visit this site like
It's
of
like
the
fucking
of the
Titanic.
statue. Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't think anybody scuba dives out there.
Yeah, that's pretty dangerous.
Baltimore Harbor. So our
Yeah.
harbor
That's
is fairly
Pretty
polluted.
nasty.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
supposed
Although they
to
are
swim in
saying
it.
it's getting close to a point where you can actually swim in it
Oh, nice.
because they've had some tech that's been able to clean it out pretty good. You got the trash wheel.
It
that
was
pulls all
closer to the
trash
point
out.
where you could just walk across it.
Yeah, right. Basically, you could basically just be Jesus on there.
Did they have some? Yeah, they had some kind of like trash harvester. What the
Yeah,
hell was that thing?
it's a giant wheel. It's a giant wheel that basically, I don't know all the mechanics, but it's a giant wheel that spins and like sucks the trash out of the harbor and then puts it into a fucking dumpster. But apparently it's done a great job.
Like 3 of them.
There's 3 of them.
Have they tried just not throwing garbage in the harbor?
No.
Yeah, no. No. Well, it's not even that it all gets thrown directly into the harbor, but it's like all the people like to throw their trash outside out of their windows and shit. It all just ends up in the storm drains, which then end up in the harbor. So it's unfortunate.
Just maybe suggest, you know what, if you can order everybody to wear a goddamn mask, can you just order them to stop throwing their garbage out the window? I mean,
you would
Right.
think people would have more pride, but that's what happens when you don't have to pay for your housing. So
Yeah. So, hey, what's this about? Trump did a thing at Mount Rushmore, and so what was this about Trump at Mount? What was this about Trump at Mount Rushmore?
So like what? But okay. So my question first is like, does anybody know why he's deliberately doing these rallies in the most controversial places, in like on the most controversial days? Like he did like a thing at Tulsa on the day that like of the you know like the anniversary of the riots, or on Juneteenth or something, and it's like, you know, of Black Wall Street getting burned and everything, and he's doing his rallies there. And then now he's going to Mount Rushmore. It's like
he's just trying to get media coverage.
Okay.
I mean, I assume, you know.
I think he's trying to trigger the libtards. I mean, I don't think there's his philosophy or strategies any deeper than this will really piss him off.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably that's it.
I don't know.
Well, Mount Rushmore, he's appealing to his nationalist base. You know, on 4th of July, it's I just see it as nationalism, and you know, he's very pro-America, and that can be a successful strategy in an election. You know, you're like, hey, I love the country. These guys hate the country.
Right.
You know?
Associating himself with previous tyrants elevates his own power.
Right.
I mean, yeah, other people, they see him as you know, national heroes, national figures. They don't see him as tyrants. So I mean, that's his. You have to look at who he's appealing to. He's not appealing to James Babs, but
no, they love that. But I'm saying that motivates his base. They want to have like this strong man who's gonna put down the rebellion, and he's gonna bring order. And these are what these authoritarian figures do up on that mountain. You know, that they're strong, and you know they you know, look, we even bent this mountain to pay respect to our gods. I mean, the Greeks never had a temple that extravagant. I mean, when you see it as a statist, does it like a tear come to your eye?
No, a tear doesn't
Kyle,
come to my eye.
Did you ever use the tears for lube?
But no, but I will tell you, like, I have thought of the fact that the libertarians, a lot of us have, or a lot of the party has this like anti-government streak, an anti-flag streak, and I thought, hey, you know, it would probably help us. It certainly wouldn't hurt our chances to be a little more patriotic, you know, to get some American flags up on the stage, and to be a little more just, you know, we care about the country, and we're for America and pro-America. Not to the extent of full like the crazy nationalism, but like Ron Paul, you know, he would wear an American flag pin and put his hand on his heart during the national anthem and stuff like that. Like, you don't want to be perceived as, Yeah, you don't want to be perceived as anti-America. That's a losing political strategy. So, I mean, if this is the sentiment and this is what people want and this is what they respond to, you can kind of, take pride in the positive aspects of America. The values like liberty, I would say number one is an American value. And you can say, hey, we got to get back to what we used to stand for: freedom, liberty, small government, low taxes, get the government off your back, and America. So you could make
How's
it
that worked
stand
out so
for.
far?
You can make, well, we don't do it, but I'm saying it would be a good idea if we did. You can make it stand for whatever you want to make it stand for. It's a flexible thing.
It's
So
like hope and change. It's whatever
Like
you want
instead
it
of
to
being
be.
like anti-plantation, right? You just want to be like, maybe have the masters, like be respectful to the master and say you love the plantation. You just think that, we want to get back to, slightly fewer lashes and back the good old days of on the plantation. But this uppity slave rebellion shit, that's not going to get us anywhere.
well, you want to win the election, and being a little patriotic is going to help you do that.
If you're running for overseer.
Yeah, which we are. I mean, as candidates, we're running to be leaders, to be the leaders of this society, and to change things for the better.
Well, I mean, okay, well, doesn't it seem though there's like, there are a ton of people on the left that are trying to like, use this cancel culture to like just like say like all American history is horrible. It's like, and then maybe like push us towards some sort of like, like Marxist system, that's
Right.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know
yeah,
what their deal is.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hey, if
Well,
you love your statues, I think if they're on a public square, they're technically available for homesteading. Take that statue home, okay? Put it in your private museum. Worship it with your friends. Do whatever you want to do with that statue, right? There's no reason that shit should be.
I'm just gonna start dropping off statues at Jared Schneiderman's house.
Right? If you love it, if you think it should be protected, then protect it. If you think it should be chucked in the river, chuck it in the river. Who cares?
Well, I mean, I think there's a general, to your point, Matt, I think there is a general tenor of like, everybody has to be infallible. History is, everybody has a flaw, and then we're just going to completely exploit the flaws of this person and abandon all context and abandon the entire, all of history for this thing, whatever it is, right? I mean, you can, we look at people like, Ulysses S. Grant. He owned slaves, but he had turned around and ended up being a rather large pioneer for civil rights as American history goes. Robert E. Lee, similar thing. I'm not defending them as what they, through the lens of 2020. I'm saying they were men of their time. It is what
exactly.
it is.
And right now we're all doing a bunch of shit that's going to really piss off people in 100 years.
It is. I mean, they're just going to be like, where did this go? And they're just going to
put them in a museum. Why not put them in a museum? Isn't that where they should?
Well, I think, I mean, as far as like statues, I don't see the need to have like statues outside of a specific like monument, or a specific area, museum, place where it can be. It doesn't need to be on like the public square.
Yeah, like no public statues, because
public statues are like,
you really shouldn't.
Like, there's a statue of Ray Lewis outside of the fucking M&T Bank Stadium, but I mean that's a bad example because that's
what if a statue's just really ugly? I've seen some really ugly statues.
Well, yeah, there's that one.
That's just a freaking eyesore. You might have to walk by that every day, even if you like the subject.
But I think, but the issue is trying to sanitize history, right? I mean, it was ugly and it was nasty, but it happened, and it's part of what is today, for better or for worse. And you can look at it in terms of where the way Kyle looks at it is hey, roses from the thorn bushes, or just a bunch of thorn brushes, but it's still a living thing. And to that end, trying to sanitize it, I think, is the issue for me. Like, I can't get behind that aspect of it. I can't get behind the fact that, you're trying to pull Laura Ingalls Wilder's books from, from libraries because she said, she dropped N-bombs, or,
Right.
or use the inappropriate, terms for Black people in her literature. But it's like, she
and
was
that goes
in the
deeper
late
than
1800s.
statues.
Right. But it's,
Right.
but it's still like, but it's like, she was writing in the late 1800s. Like,
Yeah. I mean, Mark Twain
give it a
used the
rest,
N-word.
that's who they were at the time. That's part of the context of history, so it's like the idea of, of us trying to sanitize it rather than try to watch the progression and the lessons that were learned and the changes that took place, and, and the efforts that were made by people in the face of those things. You take away the heroism of the heroes of that time when you diffuse the events. When you say, I want to sanitize history and take out slavery, you then dilute and erase the abolitionists, right? Because they were not abolitionists if there's no slavery. So like, there has to be both there has to be the villain for there to be the hero. And and they're people. So they're both at the same time at any given time on the timeline to any given group of people. So it's like, it is more than just, this is a bad guy, this is a good guy, and we need to cleanse everything out. And to me, it just seems
what about Mount Rushmore specifically, though? It was a perfectly good mountain, and then some people came along. I mean, I
when
consider
was Mount
myself
Rushmore
a nature
built?
lover, and
when was it built?
When was it built?
Like, when did it happen?
Because that's the thing. That's the thing. So going back to the statues, a lot of these Confederate statues that people are upset about were actually constructed in the early 1900s, almost, 100 something years after they were actually, after these people lived, and they were constructed during the Jim Crow era, right? So they were constructed as sort of racist monuments, at least that's the argument. So,
well, and there are also so many of these are just monuments to war and paying tribute to the war.
Right. But what I'm saying,
the warfare state.
Let me finish my point though. My point is, like, some of these things, look, I mean, they're in Greece. I'm sure there are a ton of statues of ancient Greece that are for warlords, right? But like, we wouldn't want to go tear them down because they're like fucking ancient Greek history. Like they're part of ancient Greek history, and it's like, yeah, do they glorify warlords? Yeah, sure, but it's like, it's a relic, like it's a fucking piece of ancient artifact. Right. Yeah. So like,
right, but once those artifacts became private property, they were finally able to be protected.
Of course, I'm all for privatizing everything. But
so I think the key is, if you want to preserve these artifacts of history, like the statues and the temples, right? Like, it needs to get out of the street, and it needs to get into your private museum.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that really can make sure everybody's happy with this issue. And there's I don't want to see the statues destroyed if they're, even for just the artistic value alone is, might justify their, existing somewhere. But
yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're, to Jared's point, right? If you think about the time period in which it was, these statues came about around the same time that the American flag became a thing and the Pledge of Allegiance became a thing. All of that was to treat a very demoralized and fragmented United States. If you consider that the Civil War only ended in 1865, right? So it was so it's like 35 years prior, 45 years prior. So I mean, my lifetime ago is when, from that point, when these monuments were being made, it was, they were propaganda pieces to revitalize patriotism and get people out of that funk of the Revolutionary War. And I think it did. I think it took a huge toll on the morale of the country, the Civil War, and people still remembering what that was and what went down and the gritty details of it, and on both sides. And so yes, those things emerged, but knowing that those artifacts were there as a means of treating that malaise and that funk that the country was in, unto itself speaks to the era and the time, speaks to the state of mind of the country at that time. And you and I can look at it and be glib toward it because it's like, I have no emotional connection to a statue of Robert E. Lee. I couldn't care less. I mean, although I will say that I do have somewhat of a sentimental connection to the Robert E. Lee car, right, from Dukes of Hazzard, and I'm a little bit put out by the fact that down to it.
Yeah.
That baby with the bathwater. I can't, you take down Robert E. Lee, you've taken everything down with Robert E. Lee. And
Yeah,
so that
you
means
can't take
even
down
have
the
the
Dukes of
fucking
Hazzard. Shit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like Robert E. Lee was actually like pretty fucking cool. Like from well, seriously.
We're now
seriously.
banned. Now we're banned. Robert E. Lee is cool. Somebody make a meme of that. Oh,
is that going to be the podcast title now, Matt?
There's a
no. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with like Robert E. Lee. He was actually asked to be the general of the Union, right? He was asked to lead the Union Army by Abraham Lincoln, and Robert E. Lee said, "I'm sorry, I'm a Virginian before I am an American." Because that when you go back to America during that time, it was literally like the United States. A state is a country. So it's like, like all those states in the country at that time were like their own country.
Nation states, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly. So they were asking Lee to go against his own country and perform treason, and from what I've read about Lee, and I've heard this from a lot of people, he was actually against slavery. And I believe he's also been quoted as saying that he wished that he owned all the slaves in the South. And if he had, he would have freed them all and prevented the war if that would have did it. But nobody believed that like freeing the slaves would have ended the war. So like actually Abraham Lincoln said that if he could preserve the Union without freeing one slave, he would do it. That was your boy Abe Lincoln.
Right.
Boy, Kyle's boy.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I have way more respect for Robert E. Lee than I do for Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's once again like
the
Robert E. Lee.
Secession guy. He's the
Yeah, like
secession guy.
Yeah, I mean, compared to
Robert
Lincoln,
E. Lee.
right?
Robert E. Lee said. Robert E. Lee said.
Let's compare other tyrants to Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, there's
I mean, well, if you look at like Lysander Spooner, who I think everybody in this on this podcast besides Kyle should adore him. Robert, like Lysander Spooner was a he was an abolitionist. Well, prior to the Civil War, he was writing books about how slavery was immoral. He wrote The Unconstitutionality of Slavery. But when it came to the Civil War, he was actually on the side of the South. He was an abolitionist, but he wanted to see the South secede from the Union. Right. So, I mean, dude, history has been rewritten at this point. We just know what, what people are trying to tell us, Yeah. I don't know. I don't really believe it all. And I do think there are a bunch of leftists that are trying to like cancel culture, like eliminate a bunch of American history to say like, oh, while we're at it, we'll just get rid of your fucking First Amendment because these people don't believe in freedom of speech. And these people don't believe in the right to bear arms. These people do not believe in freedom, period.
But sanitizing the past doesn't fix the future. Logically speaking, okay. I mean, anyone on this panel will agree that, if they could eradicate all forms of racism from the planet with the snap of a finger, they would absolutely do it without question or hesitation. The issue is that by erasing the history, you do nothing for the future. In fact, you erase every lesson, you erase every relic, every artifact, every piece of evidence that teaches the lesson against racism. And so, in the effort of getting rid of it, they are essentially going to promote it in future generations through resentment, through cancel culture and blinding people to history. You're not fixing anything for the future. You haven't laid the groundwork for anything. You're fucking around with the past because it doesn't require anything of you. It doesn't require any real change, any introspection, any real sort of rebellion. It's literally just vandalism and then you're done, and it's like, that's the laziest shit at the end of the day if you're really trying to fix an institutional problem,
Totally. Guys, we're out of time. We're going to head on over to After Hours. If you want to check out our After Hours program, we're going to continue it from here. Just head over to patreon.com, and for a minimum of $1 per month, you'll gain access to our After Hours program. We also have t-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. If you type in the code PRL, you'll receive a 10% discount. If you spend $50 or more and use the code PRL2, you'll receive a 20% discount. This podcast is brought to you in part by Conversations About Freedom podcast, hosted by Moral Bob. Until next time, live